Hey folks, welcome back. So today I want to share a new preset with you guys, which is on my hard drive for quite some time. I have no idea why I haven't shared this before. It's an interesting one and it's inspired by another reactor preset. I show you this in a minute. And it's completely free, of course. You can download this, put it in your preset folder, and you have some fun with it, okay? That's how it goes. So in Bitwig, it looks like this here. I have some kind of baseline, or I work on some baselines here. And for instance, this sound here needs some top end. It sounds like this. So some kind of bass sound. And it misses some top end. It's a lot of muffled here around this region, right? But here, not so much. So I need some top end. And what you usually do is you put distortion on it, or maybe some noise samples here. I use textures, which is also a preset of mine. So it uses some texture samples and then uses amplitude modulation, ring modulation to put some noise on top. Right, it's just a sample here, and then amplitude modulated with the initial bass sound. And then I use here on the pre-FX box, I use an EQ5 and take all the bass out, so it doesn't react. The envelope follower doesn't react to the bass, to the sub. Right, which makes it much more noisier because there's a sub always on, right? When the sub is always on, the envelope follower follows all the time and you get noise all the time. So taking this out here, it only reacts to the top end, which is the interesting part for me. And then I put this on top. A bit of pink noise to that, and then you get a nice texture. But that's not the preset I want to show you. This is an old one, just an example here. So then you usually put some, let's say, distortion on top. And instead of distortion, I use here this one, which is called BND Wave Cycle Bender, okay? And this one does basically phase modulation or frequency modulation on audio files. So it sounds like this here with this on top. Okay, so it does basically, phase modulation on audio files, which is the idea about this. But here it's not just a sine oscillator modulating the delay time of the audio. The sine oscillator actually follows the pitch of the incoming audio signal. So it tries to pitch detect what's going on in here. And then it uses this pitch to drive a sine oscillator. And then the sine oscillator, you can use your different ratios for it. Here, this is half the frequency of the detected pitch, and this is twice the frequency of the detected pitch. So you can kind of ratio or decide which kind of ratio you want to use for the sine oscillator to then phase modulate the audio signal. So it gives you some kind of pitch tracked distortion effect, and sometimes it gives you exactly what you want. So this is here on the bass sound. It kind of sounds nice to me, actually. So we can modulate this here, or maybe automate this and say we want to have this only on the end here. Something like this, maybe here. Right, instead of this. So this could be something that you can use, and then you bounce it out to a new audio file, and you have a new kind of sound. Instead of just using a synthesizer and replicating the sound and, you know, doing something else here, you can just use an audio file, put this on top, and you get some new harmonics. So this one is on my hard drive for quite some time, and I should also show you how it looks like here. It's very simple actually, and it's inspired by what's the name? Colugo. It's inspired by the effect device called BND by Colugo, and I think Colugo is also the same guy who makes actually the what's the name? Blockhead, a new DAW. Currently in development. So yeah, this one here is made or inspired by this guy's device called BND, and you can download this effect here as a reactor. Let me see if I find it. Reactor FX, I think this one. Open file recently, this one here. Yeah, so this is how it looks like here in Reactor. It sounds a bit different because there's a different pitch tracking algorithm, I guess, and a bit of different things here, but it does the same thing. So it sounds a bit different. There's a different sound to it, but it's inspired by this device. I looked it up. This one is not online anymore for some reason. I haven't found it in the Reactor user library. I don't know why, but I have this here on my hard drive for quite some time here. It says here it's released on 2016, so it's quite old. So yeah, this was inspired by this. So the Wave Bender thing here is completely free. You can download this, of course, in the description below or on my Patreon if you want to. And yeah, like I said, pitch tracking is in here. And then I use this to drive a sine oscillator and then use then the output here and audio rate modulate delay time. If there is a note incoming, as you can see here, if you want to use this on an instrument track, you use then basically the notes. So this switches then automatically to using the notes instead of using pitch tracking here, which is much more accurate, right? So I can show you this here maybe on an ambient drone here, right? Let's loop this here for a moment. So there's a note in here, right? There's a note clip and then driving the sampler. And then we have this audio here, and then you put this BNT wave cycle bender on there. And then in here, you can see it uses basically the note information coming in from this note clip. So yeah, that's the preset for you. Also you have here some kind of different bass sound. Also play around here with the delay time. Delay time is basically this one here. So if you have this at 0, the output audio is not delayed at all, but I need some kind of delay buffer here, so you need to dial in something. If you push this up here, the band, which increases basically the delay time modulation, as you can see here. So you need a bit of wiggle room, right? So you need to have a higher delay time here. But if you don't use that, and you just use here a small amount of bands, as you can see, the modulation here is not that high, or the range is not that high, so you can pull this down. So there is not, there's not a big offset between the incoming signal and the outgoing signal. Sometimes it sounds also a bit different. So you can play around with this on audio files. Sometimes it's very nice to have this instead of, like I said, pulling up a synth, replicating the sound and doing a different sound. Here you can just put this on an audio sample, play around with it, and see what it does. And yes, the pitch tracking is not that accurate inside of Bitwig here, but it does its job actually very well, in my opinion. Also here with the filter before going into the zero crossings module. And also sometimes you get some weird artifacts, some weird things, because the pitch tracking breaks down, which also gives you some kind of random output. And sometimes it sounds cool. So try it out, it's completely free. I never shared this before. I put it on my Patreon in my GitHub, and then you can just download this and have some fun. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoy this thing. Let me know what you think. And that's it. Leave a like, leave a subscription. Thanks for watching, and bye.